guys. You're mic'd up with Addie and Casey. And today we're doing episodes two and three combined. So we had already filmed these previously, a week ago, but we had some technical issues. So we have 1 and 4 filmed. And we're going back today and we're combining 2 and 3. But episode 2 was more about the actual event of the Mississippi Freedom Summer. And 3 is about kind of the after effects in Mississippi. There were national after effects and there were effects in Mississippi. So that's what we're talking about today, guys. So just bear with us and join us on this Saturday morning. It's really Monday. Oh, Monday.
Hallie, you are days
We're
off.
all tired. Maybe me more than the others.
Okay,
So,
let's get started.
Anyway, so in 1964, the 300 volunteers arrived in Mississippi for this project, and the project director was Bob Moses, and he came down with the first wave of volunteers.
Yeah, and Bob wanted to keep the was it approved? No, it was a project. Bob wanted to keep the project as non-violent and peaceful as possible, but that was not the case.
Yeah, it became very violent, sadly.
Yeah.
But basically, whenever all the volunteers came, obviously he wanted to keep it non-violent, but there was always this kind of lingering, kind of, I think, knowledge in the back of their head that there would be violence, and the volunteers were even told to bring money for bail whenever they first came to Mississippi.
Yep. And there was specifically a lot of violence around would you call it a hate crime?
Yeah, I guess.
That didn't sound very with some northern students. Their names were Michael Schwarner and Andrew Goodman. They were both whites from the north. They went to
I think NYU, maybe.
Yeah.
They were from New York. It was a school in New York.
Yeah. And then there was an African American. His name was James Channing. He was from, I think, Mississippi. Yeah. But basically, there was a big disappearance or whatever. And they disappeared when they were looking into a church burning, and their bodies were not found until 6 weeks later.
Whenever they were found, 6 weeks later, they had been beaten by a KKK lynch mob, and there was a policeman involved, helping the KKK and supporting them. So the KKK never really got killed for it. That's kind of what a lynch mob is.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't know already, a lynch mob, at least in this case, was basically where the police knew what was happening and stuff, and they just chose to overlook it. And even once they found who exactly did it, and they obviously knew that it was KKK members, because some KKK members, as we said in the previous episode, but some KKK members were actually in the KKK. In the government.
Yeah.
But so that really just, what's the word?
It kind of caused no one was ever punished for their crimes. The government members were involved in the KKK. The KKK had people in the government that were kind of protecting them.
Yeah, there was no separation between.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hate from the government and other members. They mentioned the KKK. While we were doing our research, one of the words that came up, I think a couple of times, the KKK in suits. So lawyers, policemen, businessmen, all these people who were
just practically the whole politics
big
of the
members
town.
of the society who were protected for hurting these people and weren't punished for it. So I think that was one of the big things that caused fear.
Yeah, I definitely say that excuse me, instilled a lot of fear.
Yeah.
In just
Everything
activists and
that went on.
everything, because they just get away with they felt like they couldn't. They had no help. Everybody was against them. So people can really get away with anything, and people are kind of helpless because
Yeah.
crazy.
Sorry guys, you have like our notes here, so that way we stay on topic a little bit, and we're just making sure that we kind of covered everything. Sorry, I get sidetracked so easily. So yes, yeah. Where's Eddie's glasses at? Okay. Oh, so basically, one thing that we talked about, or like we were discussing throughout our research, was that a lot of the volunteers were white that kind of like came to Mississippi. So, you know, like in the past, they were fighting like African Americans, and like all the white people just kind of like had discrimination towards them. But like at this point in time, because most of the volunteers were white, they were like helping the blacks in Mississippi. The KKK was no longer, or like anyone causing violence was no longer fighting the fighting like a race as a whole. They were just fighting the idea of change.
Yeah.
And so I think that I mean, it's something to kind of keep in mind. It's more of like a topic that you can discuss. It's not really like a fact, but just that they weren't fighting like a group of people. They were just like this fear of change, and that's really, I think, what caused all the violence. Like what caused the reactions of the people of the nation that we saw so much of, like especially after kind of the events of the Mississippi Freedom Summer. Yeah. There was a lot of violence, definitely. There were a bunch of other like church bombings, like business bombings of like black businesses, shootings, and just kind of all sorts of and all sorts of stuff. Yes. Alicia Phelps. But yeah, is there anything else I wanted to talk about, like the
Violence,
yeah, like in Mississippi?
I think that was it.
Yeah,
That was the church burning was like really like the biggest thing. There were a bunch of like little violent events, but whenever just kind of everything about it was violent. But also like we talked about like the after effects. Sorry, I gotta flip back to my notes. We talked about all the freedom schools that they created like during the program. So it was like 40 freedom schools with around 3,000 students. Like I said, multiple sources say like kind of different numbers, but they were all in the same range. But like approximately 40 freedom schools.
There's like 40 schools, like 2,500 people enrolled.
Yeah. And so like that kind of went on during the Freedom Summer, like, and kind of like went on after. Like it was one of like the big outcomes of it. And the whole point of those freedom schools was to educate the voters, or like the blacks, on how to vote, teaching them how to pass the literacy test, teaching them how to pass all these obstacles that kind of stood in their way from giving them like political activity or being able to get active in the community.
Yeah. I think one thing that really needs to be just like brought out there, address and all, was that it wasn't like within the state, the whole movement and stuff was pretty much a failure, just in the sense that they didn't really get the outcome that they were looking for. They wanted like a national,
Voter registration.
but they did raise voter registration and stuff, but not as much as they hoped for, not even within the state.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it did help on a national level, but not.
It helped bring awareness more
To the situation and the repression and stuff, but not necessarily in the sense that they hoped for.
That's kind of why we talk about more of the after effects, like during this podcast. Why we talk more about the after effects than the actual, than like the actual Freedom Summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, shoot, y'all, I was gonna say something else, and my brain went elsewhere. What I was gonna say. Well, never mind then. What were some of the other like national, outcomes in Mississippi that y'all saw?
I know that there was a lot of, like, I know we already talked about this, but like a lot of the violence just created more tensions, and there was kind of just two groups. Like there was non-violent activists, and then there were people who really just felt like violence was inevitable at that point in time, but not necessarily like they felt like they needed violence to get what they wanted, but just that like at that point, like especially like with the church burnings and all that stuff going on and the lynch mobs, like I just feel like they thought that maybe that was the only way.
No one wants violence necessarily, but like you definitely do see people who thought that like violence was gonna happen, and who kind of like accepted it and were like okay and at
not
were kinda
necessarily
like,
supporting it.
yeah, and then there were people who kind of like wanted to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
And there was a big kind of like separation of that, I think. And as tension grew and as violence grew, that's something that like you definitely see more of.
Yeah.
You got anything to add, Addie?
Well, you talking about all my
Sorry.
to talk about.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of talking a lot, y'all.
The what? Wait, aren't you supposed to that?
It's okay, you can.
Okay, thanks. Okay. The groups use like unofficial and like official force to like terrorize the blacks in like the communities and like to prevent them from voting because like they would go out of their way to like take everything from them so they wouldn't vote. And like I think it was in one of the books I read, they were talking about like I don't remember what it was. It may have been in a video or book I watched. They were saying that they were like threatening them and saying like if you voted or something then they'd like beat you or something.
Yeah. There were just threats. Because like,
So
you
many
see
threats.
like laws, like Jim Crow laws, like in the South, like you see all these like things in the South like legally that prevented.
Yeah,
blacks
that
from
was
doing
some of that
things.
official.
Yeah, that was like the official violence, but then like during this time we see just a lot of like threats more,
Yeah.
like towards
That's
them.
more of the unofficial, I
Yeah.
feel like. And like all the KKK stuff, I feel like was probably more like unofficial, but like the government influenced
Wasn't
it.
yeah,
was
like the
more
government
official.
influenced it, and there were still people like being arrested
Yeah.
because of it. But there was like we talk about more unofficial violence.
I feel like they kind of just tried to get out of it any way that they could. Like if they didn't have to arrest somebody, then they definitely would have. Like for creating that violence, I think. Like whites, but they would easily have arrested any of the African American citizens like within the town and stuff. But you could definitely see that segregation like between the two groups.
Yeah.
And then like the is it COFO? Yeah, I think so. They like had that, which is the Council of Federal Organization.
Yeah.
Okay. And they created that for like voter registration and to protect and encourage the black voters so they can try to be more politically active, I guess. Yeah, and that helped more like within the like in-state goals.
Yeah. They basically created these like safe. I mean, I don't know how safe they were exactly, but these like
They were supposed to be safe.
yeah,
Like,
like
they don't.
these
Yeah,
supposedly
actually
like
safe.
safe voting registrations, like safe voting drives.
Yeah.
That kind of like protected these blacks like in this little bubble away from all this violence from the KKK.
Yeah.
To encourage them to vote, to kind of like provide this sense of safety like while they're voting.
Yeah.
But something else that we talk a lot about in Mississippi, and this kind of like goes into the next one. We talk about more of this in the fourth episode too. But in the like whenever it comes to like Democratic parties, like people like being able to vote, like having a say in the government.
Yeah.
The like the official Mississippi Democratic Party was whites only. It was very segregated, and it was kind of like this across the South, I think. But after bugs are loud today, goodness gracious. but I think after this, it really brought awareness to what we call like the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which was the Democratic Party where they tried to integrate like blacks into like the party become politically active. So it's no longer just white members, but like
Yeah, just other races.
they're really just trying to integrate these political parties. So we talk a lot about that later on, but we just wanted to bring that up. That because of the Mississippi Freedom Summer, that kind of grew in, I think, like awareness.
Yeah.
Well, anything else that y'all like to add to our discussion today?
I think we've covered most of like the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, we got all the violence.
That's pretty, and like,
stuff in the state.
yeah, there's a lot more with the Freedom Democratic Party outside of the nation that we'll talk about later on.
Yeah, that's in the next episode.
So I think that's all to say. Thanks for bearing with us today, girlies.
Are we doing outro music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.